The next contestant is Brian Giltay with a speech titled, Who's Watching?
Thank you, Contest Chair.
Who's watching? Brian Giltay.
Thank you, Contest Chair. Fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen. Can anyone here remember a time where you were doing something wrong, probably something you shouldn't have been, and you thought you got away with it, but it turns out someone was watching and you got in trouble? Can I have a quick show of hands for anyone who can relate to this? Okay, maybe about half the room, which means we have 50% of the people who are clearly lying. If I can get you to remember what it felt like in that moment where you realised you were in trouble, the house of cards came crashing down. It's a terrible feeling, isn't it? Well, as I tell you my story, I'd like you to remember the way that felt. My story starts a few years ago when I turned 40 years of age and I decided to treat myself to a brand new car. I've never owned a brand new car in my entire life. And I remember getting the call at the service centre, at the delivery, at the dealership. The Toyota dealership gave me a call and he said, your car's ready. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. I'd waited 12 months since ordering my car. I can still remember when I stepped into the showroom and I saw it there in front of me. It was exactly as I imagined when I put the order in before. It had a gorgeous silver metallic paint job. It had large, black, glossy wheel rims. Wonderful, low profile tyres to give it that sporty look. It had licensed custom plates, front and back, and of course, the big red bow on the bonnet. I've never had a big red bow. And I'm sure you can relate to the fact that you see it on a TV commercial and you just think it's a bit cheesy and a bit cliche. I certainly did. But given that I had it here in front of me, it really does make the moment that extra bit special. Oh, what a feeling. After I'd signed off on all the paperwork, I remember sitting in the car with the sales rep beside me. Now, he just went through a number of the features, making sure I knew how everything worked, etc. And just before I was about to head off, he told me about an app that you could download on your smartphone, a Toyota app. Now, what this app allowed you to do was to connect the car to your phone. And he said that customers were really enjoying the app. And he said it does a bit of everything. It saves all your service history. It allows you to monitor your car's performance. It's really a good thing. But he reassured me, it doesn't matter if you don't download it, the car's still going to work anyway. I thanked him and said I'd consider it. And I gradually took off on my maiden journey. Now, as I was in my new car, I was simply loving it. The smell of a new car, the fact that everything feels new, it was an overwhelming feeling. Now, I could have driven home and it probably would have taken me about 10 minutes if I just went straight there. But I decided to take the long way home and it took me about 3 hours. I simply adored the feeling. It was like nothing else. New cars have this incredible way of magnetising attention, and I found it intoxicating. By the time I got home, eventually, I had a grin from ear to ear. It was like nothing I had experienced in my life. And I recalled the conversation that I'd had with the sales representative and about this app. Now, I'm not really big in apps. It wasn't really my thing. But I thought, you know, you don't get a new car every single day. I thought I would just download this app and see what happens. So I took it out, took out my phone, registered. It took all of about 2 minutes. It was really easy. And then I totally forgot that it was even on my phone. Life went on. I was out driving my car, thinking I was the coolest guy in town. Absolutely loved it for several weeks, until I got a notification that my app needed an update. That reminded me I'd actually installed the app the night after I had the car. And I took it out and I decided to open it and have a look at what was on there. I couldn't believe the amount of data this app was capturing on me. It had everything about my driving. The moment the car was started, it time tagged that at a location. It then follows your exact journey until the moment the car is turned off. And every one of those trips is logged. I have to say, when I started to look more at the data, I came to realise that it also graded your performance as a driver. And it gave you a score out of 100. I will confess, I thought I was a good driver. But as it turns out, the app didn't agree with me. I noticed that through those few weeks, I had some scores in the low 90s, a couple in the 80s, and I'm ashamed to say, quite a few in the 70s. I should probably confess at this point in time that I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I like to think of myself as a recovering perfectionist. So I set about a challenge to improve my score because I wanted my new car to like me. And I used the app to make some adjustments to my driving behaviour. And it didn't take too long to come to understand that it scored you on 3 key metrics. The first was hard braking. The second, hard acceleration. And the third, hard cornering. So with a few adjustments and a bit of refining, I was able to gradually lift my score up into the 90s every time I went out. But I persevered. I wanted to get to 100, and I did. I just realised I'm going to run out of time. Yeah. So I had to take the car for its very first service. It turns out this little bugger who had to take it for a run on a second trip of that service scored 62. I was mortified. I sent an email to the service manager demanding an explanation. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when he pointed that out to him. Ask yourself, who's watching? Thank you.